All right, Tim, thank you so much for joining me once again. Today's video is going to be about Whitesnake, Slide It In. So this is the box set. Is that an early CD you have there?
Yeah,
or?
for this one, I thought I'd get out. I got out my original. This is my original Canadian CD that I would have picked up sometime in the early '90s. So I thought if we're gonna, rank the songs, we're gonna rank the songs as they on the albums as they originally appeared. So I thought, well, let's get the originals out.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm actually used to the UK track listing, and they kind of changed it on here. Always on like the remasters and remixes they do for Whitesnake, they changed the track listing.
Yeah,
And to be honest, I'm not too fond of this track listing on here. I'm used to the original UK track listing. I like that one. This one also opens with Gambler, which I do like as an opener. Of course, many people in the US and in Canada are used to Slide It In opening the album.
yeah, that was our version. That's the one I'm used to. And when I got the 30th anniversary edition, which had some of the UK mixes on it. I got it, and I didn't really look at it. And I remember putting it in, and I was driving, and I don't know, why is it starting off with Gambler? And then I realized it was not only was it a different mix, it's a different track order, but it was kind of a way to kind of listen to the album for the first time again and get used to a different running order. But I'm still used to the original. But I mean, in this case where we're ranking, it's not going to matter anyway because this isn't going to be in anybody's order.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm used to the UK one, and not only the track listing, the sound of it too, because the original was criticized for sounding flat, which I really didn't get because most of the earlier Whitesnake ones during like the Sunburst years and everything, those and they were Martin Birch mixes, of course, and they also kind of sounded flat in some ways. Not a lot of bass, the frequency on the albums. So yeah, I didn't really get that criticism. I guess it was because they want a more American sounding for the American market, and I kind of get that. But in some ways, I think the original sounds really good. I like that it has some punch, but of course, the American one has more punch. So I get it, but I think the original is superior. I don't like. I shouldn't say I dislike, but I prefer the original. Adding John Sykes on it didn't really do anything for me. Now, for the American and Canadian fans, that's gonna sound crazy because that's what you're used to, and I
Right.
totally get it. But in Europe and other parts of the world, the UK mix is the way to go, and that's what we're used to. So it totally depends on what you grew up on and what you're used to listening. So I think it's good that we have both
Oh
versions.
yeah, yeah. No, I love having the comparison. And to be honest with you, I'm more used to the North American mix just because that's the one that I heard first, and I think there's a little bit more. I can hear different parts, so there's a little bit more guitar, but I don't hear a lot of John Sykes on this album. Or let's put it this way: John Sykes isn't really being John Sykes on
Yep.
his parts because, and I think in a lot of ways, Mel Galley is the unsung hero of this album, and he co-wrote some of the songs, and he was already helping Coverdale steer into the more commercial direction. And the idea that the Martin Birch mix is muddy, I guess I kind of get it, but I still think it's way better than most of the earlier albums he produced.
Very true.
Although having said that, I think Saints and Sinners was a great sounding album.
That
That
was kind of a heavy sounding album too. It
mm,
had a lot of punch to
lot
it.
of bottom end, a lot of
Like
punch,
Youngblood and everything were just really great.
and I know we're not talking about that album, but I remember being really surprised to find out that it wasn't Cozy Powell that played on that album. I mean, I
Yep.
know from seeing the original "Here I Go Again" video, and I know better than to think that whoever's in the video played on it, but it just sounded like Cozy. It was really heavy. It didn't sound like Ian Pace. Ian Pace has
No.
a lighter touch, but I guess it is Ian on there. It's just the way it was recorded. But the odd thing is that Saints and Sinners wasn't even released in North America in 1982. I don't think I've yet to come across a version of Saints and Sinners in North America that's not a Geffen reissue. So I could be wrong, but I've been looking around for a long time. But Slide It In. I mean, uh, going from Martin Birch to the Keith Olsen, it just I used to think, what are they talking about with a more American sound? And then I listened to the difference between the UK and then the one that I'm used to, and I go, okay, I can't describe it, but I can hear it.
I guess it's kind of more of not really flashy because it's not like the '87 album at all. But they added some kind of guitar bendy stuff to it, and some just added some small parts to it to make it more sound like more of a. Wouldn't take it as far as calling it a hair metal sound, but I think you get what I mean. It's kind of more in the American
Yeah,
sounding
it's
vein.
more high end. I think it's a
Yeah,
lot more high end, a lot more treble.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, the fact of the matter is, however you get it, it's a great bunch of songs and totally
Very much.
deserving of its status as. I mean, it kicked the door open for Whitesnake uh, internationally. There's no question. This is when probably a lot of people thought this was the first Whitesnake album, and why is their second one self-titled? But I think a lot of people went back and bought this album in the wake of the '87 album. Unfortunately, like more than any other Whitesnake album, because I mean, this album eventually sold 2 million copies in the States. Um, I was just checking this morning on RIAA.com. It was last certified in 1992. So, like many things, I'm sure if it was a re-audit, it must have sold more than that. I mean, it's got to have sold another million. But none of those earlier albums, even though Geffen made the majority of them available, none of them sold to any great extent. But I think Slide It In probably went, I'm going to guess it went gold in its original run prior to the '87 album. So this was just pushing it over the top.
But I also think like that the US remix actually pushed it forward a bit too, because having the original with the UK really didn't do anything, and then doing like the American remix brought it to the American market more. So I think that also made it sell quite a bit more, but it wasn't a success like the '87 albums.
It was, it was successful on a hard rock band level, your typical hard rock band. I mean that was that was about all you could hope for at the time. Was
Yeah,
a 2 million selling album. That was pretty good.
yeah.
No top 40 singles, but the videos that they did get a lot of MTV airplay, and of course John Sykes was in those videos. It was certainly not the first time that the videos didn't match who was on the album, but yeah, it was. I think it was a good album to introduce the band to the world at large, and it really, even though Saints and Sinners kind of did this, but this really sort of, it took away a lot of the bluesy R&B inflections that the earlier albums had, which I've come to really enjoy those albums. But I can see where this would have been like radio programmers would have heard some of these songs and go, yeah, we're gonna play this, we're gonna promote this, and then they came over. I think they opened for Quiet Riot, who were still a big band at the time, and oddly enough with Rudy Sarzo, and I think a lot of people got to see them for the first time too. It was like, hey, this is a great band, and that's when they were like, okay, I wonder what they're going to do next.
Mm. Yeah, we talked about the UK and US remix, and I have to say the lineup changes also between those two, because the original has Colin Hodgkinson on bass,
Yep.
and it also has Mel Galley on guitar. And the new, like the US remix, had Neil Murray back again on bass, and then you had John Sykes, of course, on guitar.
And John Lord was also on the original, so they were still a six-piece band. Like you can find 45s from like UK 45s, and they're pictured as a six-piece, and then all of a sudden they're a four-piece. Very confusing. It's very confusing when you're just getting into the band trying to figure out what happened when. But that Back to the Bone that came out in 2014 that Frontiers put out, that's got a pretty cool documentary. It's got the very last appearance they did with John Lord.
It's got some, on this box.
It's got some footage from the Rock in Rio. Yeah, and it really kind of helps explain a little bit of the order of things, like when things actually happened. So I've always kind of thought, okay, this album was out in the UK before it was released internationally. But I mean, like I said,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, no matter what, it's a great album.
Yeah. You spoke about John Lord's last performance with Whitesnake, and it is on this box set. It was played in Sweden April 16th of 1984. So, and they played 4 songs: Gambler, Guilty of Love, Love Ain't No Stranger, and Ready and Willing. So yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of fun, that show, because you have David coming out and saying "Good evening, Las Vegas," because he kind of felt like the bars or the club looked like a Las Vegas type of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, that's kind of funny.
It's kind of interesting too. I mean, April '84. It's just strange how quickly things happen. That's pretty late in the year, considering. I
It's
think
close to Perfect Strangers.
that's right. Yeah,
Yep.
and not only that, I think that in early '84, Rainbow were still touring Been Out of Shape in Japan, so you still had Blackmore and Glover, and maybe Ian Gillan was still in Black Sabbath at this point. So things happened quickly, like over that summer, I would think.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think Ian Gillan was out of Black Sabbath at that point. I think he only was in Black Sabbath during '83, maybe at the end of '83. I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure how long that
'84,
tour,
maybe.
I don't know if that Born Again tour went into 1984. I know
I'm
it
not
wasn't.
too sure. I'm not too
No, it
sure.
wasn't successful. I know that,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, for all the way up to April, it must have been like, get done one gig and then off to another. So, and then Ian Pace at that time wasn't in Whitesnake. I think he was playing with Gary Moore. So it was like, those 5 guys. It's like, we need you back together. But yeah, no, it's cool to see the evolution of it, and to see the band on top of the Pops miming. I think Give Me More Time. Yeah, it's a fascinating period, but it set the stage for Whitesnake becoming this huge band for sure.
Yeah, Slide It In is kind of the bridge between like the early years
Totally.
and what Whitesnake came with, the hair metal sound, as people call it. So yeah, and the more American sounding albums. So and one last thing before we get into it. So this album was written by David and Mel Galley,
Yep.
mostly. I think pretty much all the songs. And there's of course one, and I have also included the bonus track in this. It was "Need Your Love So Bad" was on the original cassette, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, you are correct about yeah.
So I have included that too. It's the same with the next 2 albums too. I included like the bonus tracks on those 2. So yeah. So John Sykes didn't write any of the material. He came in later. For people who don't know, so
you can
John
tell.
Sykes and David wrote all the stuff on the '87 album. Maybe David wrote one solo,
except for "Crying in the Rain" and "Here I Go Again."
Here I Go Again, which was old songs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you can tell when you listen to the album, because these aren't John Sykes riffs.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Tim. Let's give us your number 10, I guess, if you didn't include a bonus track.
Well, I do really enjoy the version of "Need Your Love So Bad." That was the B-side of one of the North American singles. It was available over here. I didn't hear it until I got that 30th anniversary edition. It's a Little Willie John song, and was made famous in the late '60s by Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. But the Whitesnake version is basically just Coverdale singing over keyboards, and it's good. It's just I didn't grow up listening to that song, so.
Yeah.
My number
that's my number 11. So I just go on with your number.
So my number 10 is "Spit It Out." I mean, I like every song on this album. They have to go into a certain order. This is fine. This is just a little bit of that. I could picture somebody giving Coverdale, a hard time about his lyrics, and so he comes out with "Spit It Out." I mean, it's a good song, but this is where it fits on my list.
Yeah. All right. So as I said, my number 11 was "Need Your Love So Bad." Just going to talk about that briefly. As you said, it's a cover song. I heard it first also on like these 35th, 30th anniversary, whatever editions, because I had the original LP, the UK one, and that of course didn't have it on there. So I'm not too used to hearing it in the context of the album. This is a 10-track album for me. So, but I included it because what the hell. So that's my number 11. I'm not too fond of it, though. David's voice on that is fantastic. He does a great emotional vocal performance on that, but it doesn't really do too much for me. I don't think it fits in with the rest of the songs. So that's my number 11. going into my number 10, Guilty of Love is my number 10. This is one of the more fast-paced songs on the album. I do think this is a bit too repetitive for me. I do really like it. I have to say, I love all the songs here.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite albums of all time. So
Yeah.
this being at number 10, it's still a great, great song.
Yeah, that's right.
So don't get me wrong. But I just don't feel... Also, like the guitar solo, basically is the guitar riff going into a brief change of melody in the guitar
Well, it's
solo.
just yeah, it's interesting. And that's another thing. That's not John Sykes. That's not his style at all.
Yeah. So it's very brief also, the guitar solo there. So yeah, and also, as I said, it's kind of repetitive. So I do really like it. And I also like the Guilty of Love and the build up. I just love that. It's a great melody. So yeah, that's my number 10, Guilty of Love.
It's tough. I mean, it's not, there's, you know, there's no stinkers on this album. This is a killer album all the way through. My number 9 is Hungry for Love. Again, perfectly good song. It's got a cool like, it's just good. It's really good. This is just where it happened to fall for me. It's just that there's so many songs I like that much more. There's no bad songs on here, I don't think.
We already have some overlapping here. My number 9 is Hungry for Love. So yeah, I do like that. As you mentioned, the guitar riff, I do really like that. I love John Lord's keyboard solo in this. It's really great.
Yeah.
I just love it. And I like how present he is on this album.
Yeah.
Now, maybe not as much as some of the previous earlier albums. I think like Come and Get It, he's all over that.
Right.
Ready and Willing. But I still feel his presence on this one, which I do really enjoy, because that gives it more of this Deep Purple sound in a way.
Very traditional, very traditional, yeah.
I love that. So, and I kind of feel that's something that's missing on all the albums afterwards. That keyboard sound, though it's present on some of the albums, but I don't feel like it sticks out the way that John Lord played. So, So I do really like Hungry for Love. Maybe this also is kind of repetitive, but not as much as Guilty of Love. I do really, really like this one. So yeah, really good one.
So my number 8 is the closing track on the North American version anyway, Standing in the Shadow. Great song. You know, this could have been a single. It's super catchy. There's not a lot to it. You know, a lot of these songs are very simple, but it's good. And Coverdale's does a great vocal on it. I just like it, you know, and it just happens to be on, you know, number 8. I mean, this album is just packed with some of the best Whitesnake songs all in one place.
Yep. My number 8 is Give Me More Time. As I said, I love all the songs, but if I do have a criticism of this one, I think the chorus is kind of weak for me. I just don't think it has the punch that some of the other choruses do have. And overall, I do really like the guitar solo in this. It's really great, really melodic guitar solo. And I'm guessing the guitar solos, are they done by Mickey Moody or is it Mel Galley?
Might be Mickey Moody on this one. I don't. Yeah, this was his last stand with the band too. It's interesting to me that he outlasted Bernie Marsden, because they were always the guitar tandem, right? But yet it was Bernie that co-wrote "Here I Go Again" and got to reap the benefits from that, right? But yeah, not 100% sure who did the solo.
But I think David's voice on this is really passionate too, and that's throughout the album. You really hear how passionate he is. And that's something like the same with Ian Gillan. Ian Gillan has a set of lyrics that he sings, he's comfortable with, and he can relate to. And David is the same. He doesn't really sing about any political issues, wars, anything. He only sings about love and lust and these types of things that he can relate to. And I've heard you say before that he wrote 2 sets of lyrics, the sex lyrics and the love ballad.
And a ballad, yeah. And then he's got that more philosophical sort of sailing ship, soldier of fortune type of song. But I mean, the lines get blurred there sometimes. But Yeah, Ian Gillan. I mean, I have no idea what Ian Gillan's lyrics are about half the time. I think only he understands them. But yeah, but there's a language that they communicate in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was it. What's your number 7?
So my number 7 is All or Nothing. Again, another great song. I think that the title is a little misleading. I don't know why they didn't call the song Too Late. That's the hook, but because All or Nothing's in the verses, but it's a good song. I mean, it's just good. Like we're really, for me, we're really getting into like equals here pretty much, and it was hard to put them into one spot. That's my number 7, All or Nothing.
Yeah. I have to be honest, I had a really hard time ranking these
Yeah,
songs on the next 2 albums too. Like
yeah.
for the most part, my number 1s and my 10s or 11s, whatever you want, how many you want to include. The last and the first track were kind of easy. It's
Yeah,
probably always that way,
it's
but
filling them in
the middle
between.
is so hard.
Yeah,
It's really
very
difficult.
much.
But my next one is Spit It Out. I really like this one. This kind of reminds me like a Cheap and Nasty from Slip of the Tongue in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I do really like this one. The guitar riff is really great. That solo, I love it. I think it's so cool. Also reminds me of that solo in Cheap and Nasty in a way. So yeah, Spit It Out. The lyrics are just on another level here. Yeah. Ridiculous. But I do really like it, and he sells the lyrics.
He sells the lyrics. Yeah, David's got such a charm about him that you can't take him too seriously. You can just say, boy, he sounds good singing that stuff.
Yeah. On previous podcasts, it's always about that voice. It's not about the lyrics.
No. Lyrics are secondary. Lyrics are a vehicle for his voice.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're meaningless to him, but they're not meant to educate.
No. Maybe in certain
ways. Yeah,
in certain ways, but yeah. Okay, the next one.
Which brings me to my number 6, which is the title song, Slide It In. What a great song. I love that riff. I love the simplicity of Cozy Powell's drumming. It's just right. And I love in the second half of the verse where he starts going 4 on the floor with the bass drum. Boom, 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 ba-na-na-na. Like it just drives the song. Great guitar solo. Great melodic guitar solo. A great way to open the album, and a great way to sort of, for the North American market, it's like, hey, remember us, maybe? Great song.
My number 6 is also Slide It In. So we have 2 overlaps so far. So yeah, I really like this one too. And also I think on the 2019 remix, which I have up there, I think they added a John Sykes solo on that one that had been in the vaults for years. I think that was the song anyway. It was one song from the
I didn't
album.
get that version of it. I just got the 2014 version.
I think that's the song anyway. So, but I prefer the original. I think it's just really great.
Yeah.
And yeah, as we said before, so super passionate delivery from Coverdale here. And yeah, the lyrics kind of in the same vein as Spit It Out, but I still think this is really, really great. And a really live staple for the band too.
Yeah.
This was played all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason too why this album continued to sell, because they featured a lot of songs on this, on the 87 tour and the Slip of the Tongue tour.
Yeah. Kind of unfortunate how he kind of ruined the songs from this and the other albums on the Live at Donington.
Yeah.
And the rest of the Slip of the Tongue tour. Oh, not good.
Even the live stuff from the 88 tour because it's a completely different band. It's good, but it doesn't sound, to me, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Give Me More Time. The riff is basically Highway to Hell. Like it's pretty on the nose there, but I mean, it's a completely different song than that. It's very melodic. I will agree. I think the chorus isn't as good as the bridge. I like the bridge part, the "You Are the Reason," that part, but I like the change that goes in. Like that's really melodic. Great guitar solo. This was a single in the UK. I don't think it was released in North America. But you know, great melodic song. I mean, this is Coverdale discovering like, hey, I'm good at this, and it's easily accessible. It could have been a single in North America, and I think maybe it should have been, but that's my number 5.
Yeah. My number 5 is Gambler. And now I'm gonna say this is a great opener for the UK version. I just love it. That keyboard intro from John Lord, I love it. It's so moody, and it doesn't really, it is a mood setter, but it doesn't reflect what the rest of the album becomes.
No, and
Because
that's why I think North America, I think Geffen changed it, because it's like, this is a good song, but let's put this farther on in the album.
But I like the contrast because you have this really calm intro, and then it's just dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. I just love it how it kicks in.
Yeah.
And yeah, really great song. I've always loved this, and I think this is one. Slow and Easy and Love Ain't No Stranger are really passionate, but I think this is one of the more passionate vocal performances from David. I think it's just really great. I've been a gypsy for 1,000 years.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that opening line.
Yeah.
And you have the like vocal harmonies, a victim of circumstance.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a
really
killer
great
song. And from here on in, we're into strong territory, I think.
Yeah. Really, really great. I love it. So that's in my top 5. And I have to mention this song because this song sounds pretty much identical to another song that was done a year later in 1985. And it's a supergroup that Cozy Powell was part of, Mel Galley, Neil Murray. So like most of the lineup here.
Oh, Phenomena. Yeah.
Here you have it. Phenomena.
Isn't Glenn Hughes on that?
Glenn Hughes sings on this. I always have to shout this supergroup out because I think it's amazing. I love it so much. This is probably one of my favorite albums too. I love it so much. So if you haven't heard this in a while or not checked it out,
I'm gonna have to check that out. I keep hearing about it.
Awesome. I love it. And they did 3 albums originally. They did number 2 here, Phenomena 2, and they did a number 3 with a different singer. But these 2 have Glenn Hughes, but this also has Ray Gillen on it. Ray Gillen.
So many strands of the family tree, right?
Yeah, he's an amazing singer. So I think a highlight on this album is the opening track, Stop. Check this out. It's killer. It's awesome. And it also had the song Did It All for Love, which was a number 1 hit in South Africa, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, check this out because it's awesome. But the opening track, Kiss of Fire, sounds identical to Gambler. Like there's pretty much no difference. In the opening, like the guitar riff and that keyboard line in the beginning of Gambler, when you really get into it, it sounds like identical to this. And this was a year after with like most of the lineup on here.
Yeah.
And also Glenn Hughes, which is pretty much a brother to David Coverdale.
Well, and they were together in Purple, and crazy.
So that's really interesting. So check this out. It's awesome. Because you recommended Vandenberg to me. I loved it so much.
Tim, I'll have to do that. Yeah.
It's awesome. Sure. I love it.
Cool. So
yeah, that's really similar to Gambler. So yeah. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Slow and Easy. This is the first of these songs that I heard because I saw the video in 1987. I mean, it's not, I'm not comparing it to Still of the Night, but musically it's this epic song that goes through all these changes, and yet lyrically there's nothing much to it. But it feels like you've been on this trip. I love it. It doesn't matter how many times I've heard it. I think it's just a fantastic song. It's a live staple. I just think it's fantastic. I love that there's a tricky little in the middle that they mess around with the time signature a little bit. Like they drop a beat, da 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 da, like they'll go back into the one. But anyway, most people don't even hear it because they make it sound seamless. And again, great solo. Doesn't need flash. These songs, because Sykes didn't write the riffs, they don't need flashy guitar solos. whether it's Moody or Galley, they're just right for the song.
Yeah.
I think so this might be Moody because I think did he not co-write this? No.
I'm not too sure.
Definitely,
Actually.
I would say the he did co-write. Yeah, he did co-write Slow and Easy.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can tell the slide guitar, that's kind of his specialty. So
Yeah. Yeah. My number 4 is All or Nothing. I absolutely love this. David's voice on this is amazing. One of my favorite vocal performances on this album. Just love it. And as you said, the hook of the song is that too late part in the chorus. So it's kind of odd that they name it All or Nothing now that I think about it, because he kind of just sings that All or Nothing and just goes by, and then you have Too Late after that. So it's kind of strange, but yeah, I really like this, and this also has an epic keyboard solo, organ solo, whatever, from John Lord. Amazing. One of my favorite organ solos from John Lord. Absolutely love this. Really, really great. And I think this also has that part where it breaks down. You have almost an a cappella. You have the drums while David is singing everything, and the background vocals too. Just great. Love that part too. And then it goes back up in energy and it ends the song. I just love it. Great one. So yeah, your number 3.
My number 3 is Gambler. Excellent song. I love the atmospheric keyboard, the way it starts. And that's what, like I said, when I was listening to the 2014 version of the album, it took a while because I'm driving, right? It's a little noisier, and then all of a sudden I think I hear slide it in doesn't start off with keyboards, and then eventually I realized and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's, and I knew it was in a different order. I just forgot. Now I know this only because of Martin Popoff's Whitesnake book. The keyboard solo, that's not John Lord. That's actually Colin Towns, who was in Gillan. So you still got a member of the Purple family, and it is interesting. Is there a guitar solo in that, or is it just the keyboard solo?
The guitar kind of comes right after. The same melody of the guitar.
But I've an interesting choice. But yeah, Coverdale, it's just a tough vocal. He sings it like he means it, and I like how the drums sort of go with the song at the end, like the whole "I'm on the outside looking in," like it's kind of tricky, but great song. I mean, I don't think it's a good opener for this album, but it would have opened any other album. I just don't think it sounds like most of the songs. It's more melodic, but I'm not going to argue it. It's a great song. I can see why he was proud of it enough to say, no, this is going to be the opening part of the album. But I think simplistically, the American label said, no, you start the album off with the title song if you've got one.
Yeah, probably because I'm just so used to it being the opener on the UK version. That's the one I listen to all the time.
Yeah. And it does set a mood. It definitely sets a mood.
Yeah, and it's the same with the 87 album too. Still of the Night is the opener for me.
Yeah, and that's a head scratcher for me, because
it's Crying in the Rain.
When you get so used to something, it's really hard to disassociate yourself from that. It sounds like somebody's messed with the order.
Yeah, and that's totally okay to have different versions. It's kind of fun to have that. So yeah, my number 3 is Slow and Easy. Really bluesy song. I like that it takes its time, and love that intro, and just David's voice on that, like one of the top vocal performances from him. I just love that quiet opening, and really great. And when the drums kick in and everything, it's just so nice. I've always loved the backup vocals on this. This is like one of the highlights of the entire song. The backup vocals. That's not always the case, but I love it on here.
Yeah.
And so I love that song. It's really great. It had to be in the top 3 for me. So yeah. What's your next one?
So my number 2 is Guilty of Love. And I understand what you're saying. It is extremely repetitive there. It's almost underwritten.
especially live too.
Yeah, but
That's
I think
John Lord's
it's
last performance there. It's super repetitive.
so catchy. It is such an earworm in the
It
best
is.
way. It's not like an annoying song you hear at the supermarket and you can't get it out of your head. Um, it's so pop, but it's so I love the fact that it's pop, but it's fast. I love the
Yeah,
dual guitar, like the hook of the song. Um, this is one song where I really notice the difference between the UK and the US mix, because when guilty of love, dun 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 dun, dun like you hear more guitar, dun 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 dun
yeah,
dun, where on the UK version it's one dun, 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 like it's higher,
yeah,
same
yeah.
melody, but um and I mean, yeah, it's so super repetitive, but it's I just love it. And one of my favorite parts is where it comes down to just the bass drum, the last chorus. Um, and it's a simple fill, but I love Cozy's fill when he gets back before the band kicks back.
I just love it.
Oh, just
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
great.
perfect, right? And then and there's a later one that he does as it's fading out. It's like blah blah ba da da ba. Like
Yeah.
it's Cozy was great for Whitesnake.
Oh yeah.
I just think he just added a plus to everything he was in, like whether it was Rainbow or whatever. But um, yeah, super catchy song. I'm kind of surprised it didn't catch on. But then again, they didn't do. There's a video for this. It's a live video, but that's still with Mickey Moody and Mel Galley and John Lord, and I think Colin Hodgkinson. It's the only way I can tell. If the camera doesn't go to the bass player too much, the only way I know it's Colin Hodgkinson is if he's left-handed, because
Yeah.
that's the only way I can tell them apart. But if they'd have done a video with Sykes, I think this could have been a third hit for them in the States, or a third rock radio hit.
One thing I forgot to mention about Slow and Easy is that also has a video, and that's kind of mixed with live material and also some like more filmic recorded
Yeah, concept.
the
Yeah,
girl in the car and the
yeah,
necklace and
yeah.
everything.
And it's cut,
So,
right? It's edited. It takes
yep,
out the whole second verse, which I didn't know until I got the album. So it's
yep.
kind of like hearing an extra part of the song.
And that video has Neil Murray and John Sykes also
Yep,
in the video. So
yep.
they kind of mix all the members in
By the
different
time,
videos.
yeah,
It's just confusing.
it's interesting too, because I've always said Neil Murray was the one guy who was in the early incarnation of Whitesnake who looked the part. When they were switching over to this hair metal thing, he's the only guy that kind of looked the part. He didn't have a mustache. He didn't have glasses.
Mickey Moody
He,
didn't.
he didn't wear a little hat.
Mickey Moody didn't fit in that like 1987 image with
No,
the big hair. That would
yeah,
have not worked.
no, no, certainly
Yeah,
not.
yeah. All right. And my number two is Love Ain't No Stranger. One of the best Whitesnake songs of all time. Like, undoubtedly, just really, really good song. Always love this. Also, this starts with the keyboard line too, similar to Gambler, and that's really nice. And also David's voice on this, on the opening like line.
Yeah,
Who knows where the cold wind
yeah,
blows? It's beautiful
yeah,
almost. Like it's so great. And then when it gets into the nitty gritty and it gets heavy, it's just he has that rasp and everything. It's just great. I love it. Great song, great guitar solo. Everything about it is great. I couldn't criticize it in any way. I think this is almost a perfect song. I just love it.
I agree. It's my number one. It's my favorite Whitesnake song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. I think this is a masterpiece of a rock song. Um, Everything about it is perfect. Yeah, the atmospheric keyboards that started off. David's vocals are so impassioned on this. The guitar solo, again, not Sykes. It's just perfect. It's
Mm.
just a perfect guitar solo. The outro is great. Where it breaks down before the last, the final verse, and then the band kicks in again. Yeah, this the introduction my introduction to any of these songs was in 1987. Canada's version of MTV, Much Music, used to do daily shows called Spotlights, where they played all like a half an hour of or whatever of videos from one artist. And I remember them announcing that there was a Whitesnake spotlight coming up. Now you have to understand, at this time I'd seen Still of the Night and Here I Go Again, and that was it. You know, I hadn't bought any of their albums at this point. So I'm like, what else is there? Because I knew they had to have at least like 3 videos to make a spotlight. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to see some older stuff. And they played the original Fool for Your Lovin', which I just fell in love with that song instantly. And then they played Slow and Easy and Love Ain't No Stranger. So that was my introduction to those 2 songs. But Love Ain't No Stranger's always been, I think, a fantastic song. I'm really surprised it wasn't a hit in its time. I know now, like, you go see a Whitesnake concert and yeah, Coverdale sings that opening line, "Who knows where the cold wind blows." The audience sings pretty much the rest of it. And even when I saw Adrian Vandenberg and his band doing the Whitesnake catalog, this was one of the highlights. I think I filmed most of it on the video I posted about it, but it's a magnificent, like, melodic rock song. And it's just I think for Coverdale, it might be his crowning achievement. He's done so much great stuff, but to me, this song just rises right to the top. There was never any question what my favorite song on this album was going to be.
Yeah. Didn't they release like a VHS called Foreplay or something?
Yeah, and that's a weird one because that doesn't have the slided in videos on it, I don't think.
Yep.
That's got Fool for Your Lovin'. It does, but it doesn't. It's got Fool for Your Lovin', Don't Break My Heart Again, the original Here I Go Again, and Guilty of Love. Yep. So yeah, I don't, and then they did the trilogy one in '88, and it doesn't even have "Give Me All Your Love" on it. That hadn't come out yet. They rush released it to have like "Still the Night," "Here I Go Again," and "Is This Love." So I don't know. Maybe on some subsequent reissues. I think on the 2014 issue, the videos are on it from the album. But yeah, that's and Whitesnake was so big in '88. That old home video, certified gold. That was something I noticed this morning, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. My number 1 is "Standing in the Shadow." I absolutely love this song. That guitar, down.
Yeah.
And also on the the new 2019 remix that they did, they added a lot of keyboards during that opening riff, which I didn't like. I love how bare bones it is on the UK mix, where you only have that guitar riff and everything. Just love it. Probably my favorite vocal performance from David, like probably top 3 of all.
Yeah.
I just love it so much. And I also love that the hook of the song. Too many people. I just love that in the chorus. And that guitar solo too is one of my favorites. Really, really good.
Where is that on the original version?
I have of the '87 album is that I think some of the solos, there's too much shredding on it and just play too fast.
I love John Sykes, but yes, he had no restraint.
Very melodic.
Yeah. I think Mel Galley again. I think he was the unsung hero. It was, But where does this song? I can't remember where this is on the original. Is it the last song on the UK version as well?
No, it's the 3rd song.
Okay.
Number 3.
And that, to me, that almost makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because this is a strong song. I mean, I guess you want to close off strong and give, and so as it fades up, people are like, I want to listen to that again. But now, it's a strong song.
I don't have the original UK at hand because the new track listing is just botched up. But I think it was Gambler, Slide It In, Standing in the Shadow, Love Ain't No Stranger, Give Me More Time, Spit It Out, All or Nothing. Let's see here. Did I miss one? Give Me More Time. Did I say that one?
Yeah.
Oh, Slow and Easy.
Okay.
And then Hungry for Love, Guilty of Love. I think that's kind of the track listing.
So, yeah, no, I think you're right. I just called it up on Discogs. It's Gambler, Slide It In, Standing in the Shadow, Give Me More Time, Love Ain't No Stranger, Slow and Easy, Spit It Out, All or Nothing, Hungry for Love, Guilty of Love.
Guilty of Love, yeah. That's the one, yeah. So that's the track listing I prefer to the one they did on the box set and the American too. So, yeah. So our lists were very different. We had some overlapping here and there, but for most part, very different. You had Standing in the Shadow at number, what, 8?
Number 8. I mean, but again, like I can't argue with any of our placements. They're 10 great songs. And I think even if we were to start combining songs from other albums, these 10 songs would probably, not a lot of them would move around that much, like move
Yeah.
down. That's something was, they were firing, Coverdale was firing on all cylinders, and he was, I think you can hear the determination of, he'd been over in America for Deep Purple. Burn was a successful album over there. Kind of got a little bit of success with the original Fool for Your Lovin', hit the top 100, but Whitesnake were they were like almost a non-existent band, especially when you consider the fact that a U.S. label or a North American label didn't even bother putting out Saints and Sinners, I don't think. So this was really his way of saying, I've got what it takes. He had one thing about Coverdale, he always had that confidence, and it certainly paid off for him, because I mean, most bands after 6 years, they might have been like, I don't think this is going to work. Maybe I'll go solo, or maybe I'll do something else. But he's like, nope, people are going to know who Whitesnake is.
Yeah,